Alrighty, howdy ho Maplers. Since a lot of people have been asking me to make one of these, I might as well put out my 2 cents on the Inkwell note. I'm gonna keep it short, because really everything that needs to be said on this has been said. This is promising. It's, leading me to be cautiously optimistic for the future of GMS for once. And that's a fairly good thing. It is very promising that in such a short notice, and in such a succinct way, that Inkwell has addressed almost every one of Niru's problems that he brought up for his 299 stream. And, that's really nice. Like, this is the first time we've had some serious communication between the players and a lead developer. For those who are unaware as well, this will be the first time that GMS will have a local dev team since I believe 2016. And, cautious optimism, right? As far as these changes go, they're good insofar as that they'll help stem the bleed of players from Interactive Worlds to Reboot, but as they are listed so far for what we know, these changes don't really make reg servers an appealing choice for players compared to how good Reboot is currently. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because a lot of these changes that he talked about, especially between the World Merge and Frenzy Totem, there aren't any concrete details yet. Making Soul Urda fragments tradable is a massive step forward. It's no secret that the only reason they were made untradable is because of the Urda booster. They tried to profit off of 6th job just like Wonky tried to profit off of 5th job and ended up deciding not to. So the fact that they're now backpedaling on that and giving us tradable fragments is huge. We're no longer being treated like second-class citizens compared to the Korean players. As far as making Nodestones tradable, I mean, this is kind of just a freebie they threw out there. Nodestones, as far as reg server goes, aren't really an issue. They've kind of been botted to hell and back, like a Nodestone is barely worth 400k. Making them fully tradable now is gonna drop them to like 100k each, which, for newer players and reg servers, that's an astounding boon for them. You'll be able to max out your 5th job in record time. So that's really nice, but there are far more important items that need to be tradable than just these two. Cubes being the biggest one. Just last week in Bara, within my guild, one of my friends had their Endless Terror stolen from them from Cube service. If the only way we are allowed to cube is by risking our items on a player-by-player trade or giving Nexon money, that's not a good precedent. They need to make these cubes tradable in the auction house. They need to make all cubes tradable in the auction house. It has been a feature for Korea for years now. There's no reason GMS shouldn't have it as well. As far as the world merge goes, like I said at the start, these changes are nice for stemming the bleed of players out of interactive worlds, but that doesn't change the situation we're currently in, where we already need the world merge. These players that are in these lower worlds for population are already struggling to gain resources for the things that they need to progress on. I know it's probably because of the technical limitations and the fact that we're heading towards an actual GMS developer team, and they're probably trying to do this in-house rather than have KMS do it, but September 2025 is a long time away. We will be through and done with the 20th anniversary of the server before the world merge happens. Ideally, this gets fast-tracked to happen sooner, but if not, at least we have a concrete date for it. For Frenzy Totem, kill its value. Absolutely bury it in the mud. Give this mass acquisition to literally anyone. Put the permanent totem back in Philo in Marvel books, and then put a temporary totem in the cash shop year-round for anyone to buy for like 1 day, 1 week, 1 month. Have it work like hyper teleport rocks. Make it affordable. Bury this item's value in the dirt. Primarily, one of the biggest ways that the Spanish Mafia and botters in general make Meso to RMT is by selling Frenzy service. Frenzy service itself is giga cheap right now. It's not really an issue, but in efforts to derail the mafia and actually make stuff in the economy worth more, absolutely bury this item. Just make it so available that service dies. As well, in doing so, if you make it so available that anyone at any time can have access to it for a minimal fee, you also bring back the ability to go through with those nerfs you were already planning to do in New Age. You can bring back instance channels for interactive worlds if everyone has access to Frenzy. The biggest problem with those nerfs prior were that there were no mentions of Frenzy. If everyone has the totem isn't a problem. And if everyone has the totem, instance maps are not a problem. That way we don't have to increase the server's channel numbers when we actually go through with the merge. We can keep it around 40 and probably still be okay. As for the reward point shop, 5 bonus cubes every month. It's about 6 months late, but thank God it's finally here. B-pots are by far the worst thing to work on in reg servers, especially for a low to no spending player. Unlimited scrolls is a massive quality of life increase, especially for how many return scrolls you often need to even do something as simple as a 4-slot shoulder. It took me 18 months of my own return scrolls to do my shoulder, so having them be on a no limit is fucking fantastic. The addition of unlimited character slots as well is super nice for those people who weren't around when you sold character slots for 77 NX. I didn't forget. Now they're available for effectively free, which is great. Heroic Worlds gain cosmetic stuff, fantastic, but most importantly, pet snacks. Don't know why it wasn't in there before. All Worlds gaining 90-day access to Transparents is great. Even better still is that they're selling pets in the reward point shop. Pets are no longer a pay-to-play only system. You're not at the mercy of Hilla or Emperor Toad to get these, especially on like a free-to-play player's perspective. Pets are one of the worst things because they are not easy to get right away. But now, they're infinitely more accessible. You get the one free pet from an event, and that will last you long enough to get all 3 of these reward point pets. 10 out of 10. This is a great change. No limit on the water of life as well. Makes keeping your pets alive even easier. Fantastic. Couldn't really ask for more there. As for the event changing, the event formerly known as Dreamer, we don't know what it's going to be. Hopefully they don't change the rewards too much. And then base systems, I want to draw your eyes to number 3 here. Meso acquisition multipliers and the price of intense power crystals in Heroic Worlds. Heroic Worlds. I really hope this is intentional, because adding some dynamic price scaling to boss crystals in Reg Worlds would be a very, very nice change. Currently, it is so underwhelming how much you're rewarded for pushing characters up to C10E. You are far better off not funding your characters and just farming low-end bosses than you are actually pushing a character to harder bosses. Having dynamic prices so that the top-end bosses are actually worth the effort to get to is a great change, and I hope this is intentional. As for the Epic Dungeon, it's still to be seen if it's actually going to be worth anything for Reg Worlds. Because we have Frenzy, because we have the massive spawn booster, it'll be nice, I guess, for a daily player to get fragments and Erda, but if you're actively farming regularly, you're kind of already getting better EXP, fragments, and Erda for your time just farming. I guess if you're buying the 15 Maple Point Pass, then it becomes a lot better, but I guess that might just be a pay-to-play only thing. It is nice though, especially for daily gamers, because most of us have full-time jobs at this point. We don't have time to sink into this like I do. So it's nice. And of course, Grandest Familiars. Thank God people can stop copy-pasting this every MapleStory stream. It is a bit discerning, or concerning rather, that it's only Cernium right out the gate. Especially as we're heading into an event with a Hyperburn, which is generally when players come back or start working on new mains. Having this massive bottleneck move from Limina to Cernium is gonna be a bit of a problem, especially because Cernium drops fragments, that means everyone all the way up to the highest level people in Reboot are going to be going back to Cernium unless their familiars are maxed out. You see the problem, right? There are a lot of maps between Burnium and Cernium, but it is a very, very obvious bottleneck. So hopefully they're quickly able to get in the Hotel Arcus, Odium, and Shangri-La familiars in here, and we don't have to wait a whole year or something until the next set of familiars come out, because this is gonna be a bottleneck. And that's pretty much it. These are good changes. Cautiously optimistic for the future, so let's go.